Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. The palm shot at Zhenghai at lightning speed. Nobody attempted to block this attack from a 9-leaf cultivator. At this moment, all of them thought Zhenghai was done for. Zhenghai looked at Zhou, who was lunging at him through the air. His consciousness wavered. This strike reminded him of his master. In the end, he closed his eyes. Forget it. Death ends all troubles. At this moment, he felt incredibly relaxed. Everything would become the past eventually. He was born with nothing and would not bring anything with him when he died. Why should he stubbornly cling to his life? Whoosh. A breeze caressed Zhenghai's face. He expected the palm strike to split his head, and the troubles and pain would disappear in an instant. However, nothing happened. I'm still alive? His thoughts were still with him. He could still control his body. He could still move his fingers. The entire place was silent. No one dared to move. Zhenghai opened his eyes. He saw a hand in front of him, only a fist away from him. It did not follow through. He asked in confusion, why? Zhou retracted his palm. I'm acquainted with your master. I'm only here because of another person's request. Zhenghai, Si Wuya, Hua Chongyang, and the others were shocked. Inside the great hall, Shen Liangshou and the others who were slowly making their way toward them heard this as well. They pulled long faces. After all this trouble, 9-leaf Lu was on the Evil Sky Pavilion's Patriarch's side? They knew each other. That was quite a fright they had. Zhenghai asked, did he ask you to come? He did. Zhou nodded. Zhenghai frowned deeply and said, if he sent you here to teach me a lesson, I'm afraid that I'm going to have to disappoint you. He struggled to his feet with great difficulty before he said, I won't submit even if it means I have to die. Zhou appeared puzzled as he asked, do you hate him so? Hate? Zhenghai shook his head. A teacher for a day is a father forever. As a disciple, I have no right to hate my master. What if he has his own reasons for his actions? Zhou asked. Who's going to care about my reasons, then? Zhenghai asked loudly, clearly agitated. Preposterous. Zhou wanted to curse at him. However, without the memory crystal, he could not be sure about the truth. If things were truly like what Yuan'er, Si Wuya, and Zhenghai had said, there was no doubt he was in the wrong. However, he had a feeling there was more to the matter. He could not think of a reason or motive for Ji Tiandao to commit those acts. Although he was a brash and hot-tempered person, it did not make sense that he raised and nurtured 9 outstanding disciples just to kill them. Zhou's remark calmed Zhenghai down. Zhenghai sighed and said, I admit. I'm not doing his kindness justice. Zhou turned to look at Zhenghai. At the end of the day, Zhenghai's current cultivation base was given by Ji Tiandao. Senior Lu, may I have a word? Zhenghai made an inviting gesture. Zhou turned back to glance at Miss Conk. Miss Conk looked at Zhenghai and smiled. Don't give up, all right? Under the moonlight, her pure and simple smile with her curt advice made Zhenghai tremble. Don't give up. There were many things that he had yet to accomplish. How could he easily think about giving up? Zhenghai said, look after her. I'll kill anyone who dares touch her. This surprised Zhou. His rascal was not as shameless and despicable as he thought. The two of them walked into the forest. The moonlight grew dim. Thud. As soon as they entered the forest, Zhenghai fell to his knees wordlessly. Zhou was taken aback. He didn't recognize me, right? It should be impossible for him to do so. As a transmigrator, his personality and temper were very different from Ji Tiandao's. With the appearance alteration card and the fact that the two of them had not been in contact lately, there should be no way for Zhenghai to recognize him. Even someone as intelligent as Wuya could not recognize him. How did Zhenghai recognize him? Senior Lu. Please give me 6 months, Zhenghai said. Lu Zhou asked skeptically, 6 months? What do you mean? Since you're here on my master's request, I'm sure my master will listen to you, Zhenghai said. Of course. Lu Zhou said proudly. When I met Brother Ji, you were still playing with dirt. That's why. I humbly ask you to give me 6 months, Senior Lu. 6 months later, regardless of whether I succeed or fail, I will surely go up the mountain and own up to my sins. Said Zhenghai earnestly. 6 months. Lu Zhou was in no hurry to answer his question. He knew he could easily take Zhenghai away if he so wished, at this moment. However, if he did that, who would deal with the imperial family? Previously, he had no intentions of looking for trouble with the imperial family before this, but time and time again, the imperial family had provoked the evil sky pavilion. Is world dominion that important to you? Lu Zhou asked. It was not a good thing for cultivators to be overly covetous of power and position. Scenes of the past surfaced in Zhenghai's mind before he replied, it is. Lu Zhou looked at Zhenghai and said, I can spare you, but you'll have to answer my questions. Let's hear them, Senior Lu. First, where's your master's memory crystal? Rongqi. Lu Lan, Zhenghai answered curtly. Where is it, exactly? I don't know. Second, what's sealed within the memory crystal? This was one of the answers Lu Zhou wanted to know the most. Since he could not find it at the moment, he chose to ask about it for now. Zhenghai replied in a slightly uncertain tone, it should be the same as Yuntian Luo. As for the other memories, nobody knows. Lu Zhou nodded and asked again, final question, why are you so cold toward your master? In other words, what drove a wedge between the both of them? Zhenghai answered, I'm not being cold. I merely have no choice. Oh. Just because you're from the Wuqi tribe? Or is it because you've had a hard life since young? Lu Zhou asked. Zhenghai was shocked. He looked up at the old man before him, dumbfounded. Lu Zhou said, I've heard something from you Shangrong. Is Brother Ji trying to study the 9-leaf stage through both of you? Zhenghai did not expect the old man to know this much about the evil sky pavilion. After a moment of silence, he nodded and replied, that's true. All right. Lu Zhou increasingly felt that the matters between the 9 disciples and Ji Tiandao were becoming more and more complicated. At this very moment, a melodious tune from a flute reached them from the Nether Sect branch's great hall. The melody was mellow and pleasant. Many pairs of blue eyes appeared among the trees. The flute sounded louder and louder. It was full of vigor. The beasts inside the forest crept closer. The lady who knows the tongue and tune of beasts? Zhenghai said in shock. The melodious tone complemented the quiet night. On its own, the tone was pleasing to the ears. However, taking into considerations that it could make beasts malleable to its will, it no longer seemed harmless and beautiful. The beasts slowly crept closer. Lu Zhou raised his feet slightly and stomped. The land shook. A ripple of radiance spread into the surroundings. The vicious beasts immediately scampered and disappeared into the night. You sent Hua Chongyang to the heaven worship platform so you can use this girl to take down Jing province, am I right? Lu Zhou asked. Zhenghai knew this was not something to boast about. How could a sect master like him use an innocent young girl for his own gains? However, those who did great things would not fret over such trivial matters. They had to make some allowances here and there. Yes, he replied. I'm curious about her identity as well, Lu Zhou said. Zhenghai felt slightly guilty when he remembered Miss Kong asking him not to give up. Up until now, this was his life's motto. He had experienced and endured many hardships growing up. The Wookieans migrated due to the war and were wiped out because of it. He witnessed the deaths of his brothers but was powerless to do anything. He was sold to Lulan by traffickers as a manual laborer. He was treated as a plaything by the aristocrats who sliced his body until he bled to death. Not giving up was the only thing that kept him going to this day. And yet, he intended to use Miss Conk? How could he not feel guilty or regretful? In the end, he said, 6 months. 6 months are all I need. Do you resent your master because he tried to use you to attain the 9-leaf stage? Zhou asked again. This question made Zhenghai fall silent. He was thinking of an answer. Matters were complicated. Many details had already been lost in the sands of time. After thinking about it for some time, he said, Wuqian cultivators can only die thrice. To tell you the truth, I've already died twice. He sounded calm when he said this as though it was nothing important. Zhou's gaze fell on Zhenghai along with the moonlight. He could hardly imagine this was the first disciple he recruited. He vaguely remembered that Zhenghai joined hardships he endured. He had a single goal, and that was to keep getting stronger. He asked, confused, was the first time in Lulan? Zhenghai nodded. The second time is by Ji Tiandao's hands? Zhou mentioned his host's name instead of referring to him as Brother Ji or your master. Zhenghai's second death was what he was most curious about. Zhenghai was whisked away by Si Wuya after his death. That was how the personal diary came to be. Early in the 3rd month of the 154th year of Emperor Yongqing's reign in Great Yan, my master was meditating on his golden lotus and lost control for a time. He started spouting unintelligible words and would go on and on about the 9-leaf stage. In the middle of the month, I was sparring with second junior brother at Heaven Mountain's Phoenix Lake. My master exploded in a fit of rage, and the 3 of us battled it out. The battle lasted for 7 days and 7 nights. We moved north from Heaven Mountain's Phoenix Lake, passed by Cloud Rage River and Scarlet Orchid Mountain. In the end, my master bested both of us, Zhenghai said. He paused for a moment and sighed before continuing, my master returned to the Evil Sky Pavilion after the battle while second junior brother and I recuperated there. While we rested, we had a quarrel that lasted for 3 days. Second junior brother left in anger. When Zhou heard this, something stirred in him. The things Zhenghai was telling him could not be found in his memories. According to what Yu Shangrong said and coupled with the inferences made based on available information, Ji Tiandao had sealed all memories related to the 9-leaf stage. What did Ji Tiandao see that made him seal his memories? Zhou's gaze fell on Zhenghai. Was the battle spontaneous? It did not make sense for 3 people to suddenly fight for no reason. Zhenghai shook his head, indicating he did not know the answer to this. Seeing Zhenghai's calm expression, Zhou said, so, you died because of him. It's related but unrelated at the same time. Zhenghai smiled wryly and shook his head. What do you mean? Someone sneaked up on me and attacked me when I was heavily injured. It's too insignificant to mention, Zhenghai said. Who attacked you? Zhenghai shook his head. Thank you for your concern, Senior Liu, but I must deal with my own matters. Just as well. There was no use to press Zhenghai about this. Zhou decided to let him do what he wanted. He had gained a rough understanding of the events in the past. Zhenghai had spoken about this easily and in simple terms. However, nobody knew just how many hardships he had to endure. Zhenghai's temper and character meant that he did not like to grumble or bow his head at another person. This was the kind of person he had been since young. Zhou was surprised by Zhenghai's actions today. It was clear Zhenghai truly wanted to rule the world. After thinking about this for some time, he placed his hands on his back and turned around, walking to the edge of the forest. He did not answer him directly. Senior Liu. Zhenghai was perplexed. Although I'm an old friend of your master, I cannot make decisions on his behalf. Zhenghai stood up and said, in that case, please pass on the message for me, Senior Liu. Zhou stopped walking. Without turning back, he said in a deep voice, know your place. Zhenghai was stunned. Zhenghai was only a disciple. Was this the attitude he should be assuming while talking to his master? How dare he ask a senior to pass on his message? When Zhou arrived at the place where the battle took place a few moments ago, he looked at the moon. The sound of the flute had stopped. Shen Liangshou emerged from the hole in the wall. Against the moonlight, he bent his back and nodded as he spoke. You have some shocking techniques, Senior Liu. It's truly a sight to behold. Zhou glanced at the bootlicker and said, Shen Liangshou. Shen Liangshou was overjoyed as he said, I didn't expect you to know me, Senior Liu. I'm overwhelmed by this favor. At the same time, he felt pleased with himself. Being at the top of the whitelist was not without its perks. Huang Shiji was an 8-leaf expert, and yet, Senior Liu did not recognize him. He could not help but feel proud when he thought about this. Have you joined to Penglai sect? Zhou asked. No. Sheng Liangshou said with a bow, I've joined the Koryang sect. I was escorting old Senior Huang to deliver the survival pills. You should give more thought to what you should and shouldn't do, Zhou said. Shen Liangshou found these words vaguely familiar. Suddenly, he cried out, Old Senior Ji has said that same thing before. Oh. If only old Senior Ji is as approachable as you, Senior Liu, Shen Liangshou said. At this moment, under the moonlight, Wang Shiji, Miss Conk, Si Wuya, and Hua Chongyang appeared near the hole in the wall. Zhou noticed that Miss Conk was holding a short flute. She seemed to like it very much. Zhenghai emerged from the forest as well at this time. He walked forward with the moon behind him. Everyone's eyes darted between the 9-leaf expert and the 8-leaf expert. Zhou did not look at him. Approachable?
Yeah.
Senior Liu, eh? Your face. Shen Liangshou was rendered speechless as he witnessed a shocking scene. Under the moonlight, there seemed to be a slight distortion on Zhou's face. Zhou cancelled the effects of the appearance alteration card. There was a brief flash of light before the black-clad white-haired and slender appearance of a teacher with a stern aura appeared before everyone.
Ah.
Shen Liangshou staggered backward. His eyes were full of fear. Old Senior Ji?